Raj Girn for ANOKHI Life.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that ANOKHI life.
Yes, we've been around for like 18 years. Sarita Choudhury, you have no idea how awesome it is to have the opportunity to chat with you.
Oh
I
my
have
God.
I have been following you since Mississippi Masala, and it's just incredible to have the opportunity to come full circle with you. Um,
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I want to first begin by just saying that, what an interesting movie for you to pick, Evil Eye. You have been on TV and movies and, played so many different types of roles. I'm so interested to know why you felt the role of Usha was something that you really wanted to sink your teeth into.
I know, right? When you look at it, you think, well, I thought the same when the directors came to me, I literally said to them, why would you want me to play? Like, this doesn't make a natural fit in my head. And
Right.
then I read the script and I thought, oh my God, this woman goes on such a psychological journey. And I didn't even really see it as a horror genre film. I was just thinking of this woman and I thought, if there's some way I can play a woman who a normal woman in India would relate to,
Right.
not, and I wasn't sure I could actually do it because I was like, oh, I'm so different from this character. Um, but it was this weird challenge in my head. And the fact the directors were like, no, but we need it to be believable. We really want you to play it. I was thinking, oh my God, I can't believe anyone would think of me for this role. But they kept talking to me about it. And I thought, you know what? I need to make this a character that, like, this is real acting and I need to
Right.
do it.
Right.
That's the leap I made.
It's really interesting, Sarita, because when you played this role, you were so authentic in kind of the, authenticity of being an Indian mom. I felt like I was talking to my mom. Really, it was just so well done. And knowing your journey and who you are, I knew that this was a very, very different role for you. So I wanted to ask you, being South Asian, and just the kind of the cultural aspects of what was happening, the dynamics between the mom and the daughter. We know that this is very multi-layered when it comes to the South Asian culture, especially in terms of
Yes.
expectations, which can have a heavy kind of sense of not feeling like you're doing enough, be you the mother or be you the daughter. So this happens between
Yeah.
Usha and her daughter Pallavi throughout the film. I'd love your take on why you felt showing that dynamic between South Asian mom and daughter who lives in kind of North America was important to the overall theme of what was happening with the film.
Well, first of all, that whole theme is attractive to me because I think when I did Mississippi Masala, people just thought I was this like rebel who could do a movie like that. And what they didn't
Yes.
realize is I also came from a family that I would get in trouble for doing a movie like that. So when you do something that you want to do, you don't go to bed feeling like, oh, yay. You're like, oh, I hope I don't get in trouble. Like, I feel like a lot of the most rebellious things I did, I went to bed thinking, oh, I hope my dad will be happy. Or we're very conservative within the rebellion because we're brought
Right.
up that way. And I can't shake that. So this theme in the movie, I know it so well. And I kind of almost like a gift, I wanted to show like what happens between a mother and daughter. It's not like the mother doesn't get it. She's trapped in her own cultural needs. She
Yes.
also has a backstory she can't share. So she's just being super protective under the guise of a cultural thing, but it's actually psychological.
Right.
And I love the idea that by the end, they're stripped of these things, but what's left is more love and trust and a stronger bond. So I thought, this is the kind of life I would want for anyone, not in this horror genre, but definitely coming out with a truth to your daughter and and setting her free in a weird way. Because
Right.
a lot of moms don't, I mean, you don't tell your daughters what you did. It's like there's it's almost like you're not allowed to talk about your
Right.
sexual past to your daughter.
Right. And that you
So
even had one.
you did not have one, you know?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel that, you know, kind of the whole concept behind the religious components and how the mother really kind of holds on to this whole notion of, you know, everything has a purpose in life. I felt that strongly with the mom, that, you know, everything that was happening for a reason. The relationship between karma and dharma, you know, and how the evil eye is there for a very, very strong reason. For those who are uninitiated around kind of the idea of the evil eye, which is something that's been around as long as recorded history, can you shed some light on why that was the fundamental theme that kind of kept this film moving and unraveling as it did?
That's a really good question. I think the answer is this film could have been, say you took that element out, it could have been just a psychological drama
Yeah.
with kind of this ending that would fit into horror. But I think when you're dealing with psychological trauma, you need to have something physical that gives you an excuse for your behavior. So I
Right.
think instead of the mother saying, oh, I don't trust men, I need to choose the man for you, she goes to an astrologist, she makes the daughter wear the evil eye bracelet. So it's almost used so she doesn't have to tell her truth.
Mm-hmm.
And superstitious beliefs become her way of saying, oh, no, you'll get in trouble if you don't do this. But the real truth is she had an experience that she doesn't want her daughter to have.
Right.
And tied in with that is the evil eye will ward off that happening, yes, but also not telling her daughter the truth is why it's happening.
Right.
So I feel like the evil eye is kind of the representation of general India. Like we're using something that every person will understand instead of really what the real theme is, which is past sexual trauma and how mixed in with reincarnation and how that's not passed on to your daughter. And how do you teach your daughter to be strong enough not to have that in life?
And you know, it's interesting that you say that, Sarita, because I feel that is kind of the fundamental relationship that is between that one generation and the other. You know, the one generation that did everything that they could to hide who, you know, they shouldn't be, even if they've experienced it, and the generation that does everything in their power to experience all those things that they're not supposed to experience. Like I got that.
Wow.
I got that true kind of juxtaposition between the mother and the daughter.
Yes.
Like, did you tell me your thoughts on
that's
that?
so that you said that so well that I can't even add to it. Like that's so interesting. It's also what's bizarre for me is when I saw the movie, because I'm in it, it's hard to look at it objectively.
Yes.
But it was the first time, usually there's an unevenness in when you do generational stories. The mother is the one who's like, okay, she's overprotective, whatever. And the daughter is finding freedom. But the fact that they're both trying to find freedom, but they can't separate from each other, is very moving to me.
Yes.
Because in the daughter ignoring the mother, she's not even listening to her own instincts and running towards the guy that you sense, wait a minute, does she love him or not?
Mm-hmm.
But she can't even do that because she's so busy like shutting up her mother.
Right.
And that really is interesting because then it makes me realize what in our rebellion against our generation before us, what have we lost that they were supposed to give us?
Right.
Like in our freedom, we may need a few of those things.
Right.
You know,
that's fascinating. It's just, you know, it begs so many more discussions, and you know, it kind of brings me to this kind of other theme that's going on that, you know, was really strong, was the whole idea behind reincarnation and magic, and how within the South Asian culture these are very prevalent known things, but in Western ideology, especially since Western ideology in the last 100 years really kind of control the mandate of what you were and were not allowed to do, you know, in the world. And now we're, you know, and I don't know if you believe in this stuff, but, you know, this kind of transitional shift that we're going through, especially this year, where we're going from the, you know, Piscean age to the age of Aquarius, and age of the Aquarius being kind of, you know, lifting the veil so that, you know, we can live our true selves. I feel that that really is, you know, powerful in what's happening in this film, in terms of, you know, I feel there couldn't have been a better time in history than this year for this film to come out, where people are looking for alternative answers than your normal Western ideology can give you. People are looking at energy and psychic phenomena. They're looking at astrology, and they're looking at magic and reincarnation. It's more palpable now than it's ever been. It's more palatable now than it's ever been.
Yes, that's such a good point, because from what you're saying, like if this was 10 years ago, it would have been treated as, oh, that's an Indian custom. Oh, that's what the mother is doing. But now it's something that a lot of people are leaning on.
Yes.
And fully wanting to understand. And in that way, when I was with the astrologer in the scene, I remember thinking, I want this to be super practical.
Yes.
This cannot be played like, ooh, I'm being the annoying mother who like believes in this. No, I want to know this. That's it. Because a lot of my friends are like that.
Yeah.
Who live in New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never thought of it the way you just said it though. Like it almost takes themes that 10 years ago would have been considered mythology and custom to actually a very normal way of living right now.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, Sarita, you know, especially in the last 100 years, I'm a huge kind of, you know, history buff and culture buff. And one thing that I've found so fascinating is how much of our identity as humans has been lost because we haven't, you know, looked at all of the evidence that's in front of us, be it the science, be it the psychological stuff, be it the spiritual stuff, be it energy, be it the science of astrology. Now, just think if, you know, this age of Aquarius, this divine feminine space we're coming into, where finally women are getting their right to be heard and seen and on their own terms. I feel that a film like this, which is so predominantly about the female relationship, I mean, the men are kind of there for a purpose, to fulfill the role that, you know, this relationship between these two women. That's kind of the feeling I got. I mean, tell me your thoughts on that. Like, I feel that you get what I'm saying.
Totally get it. No, it's so funny because as I'm listening to you, I'm just thinking, God, that's another thing about the film. The men are used as part of the story that the women are trying to share with each other.
Yes.
As opposed to, which never happens.
Like, hello.
Never. I think, honestly, you know, because I remember again, when they asked me to do this and I was just like, there were so many reasons. I was like, this is not the right fit. But all these thoughts we've just been talking about, you could see them in a script and you thought, how are all these things in one script?
Yeah.
And like, wait a minute, it's two women we're talking about. And this isn't, Sunita said something interesting. She said, a story that is horrifying because of the abuse is put in the context of a horror movie.
Right.
And how, when you think of female, like, it's an interesting trick almost to make it a horror movie when even without it being a horror movie, it's horrifying.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I totally hear you. And I know that I have to wrap up, even though I could speak to you for hours on this.
Oh, you're so lovely.
Yes.
And I'm going to look up more of what you were saying about the age of Aquarius and all that, because that's
totally.
So
it'll make sense. It'll make sense to you. There's so many things about that.
Yes.
And why, as women are now, even though women have been trying to be heard, they're being heard now. Why is that? There's a reason. There's a reason, right? So with that said, my lovely, lovely lady who I admire and respect, thank you so much for taking on this role, which was, you know, a very different kind of role than, you know, I would expect someone like you to do, because you always do those, you know, roles that are more risque. think in that realm, but I feel that you did that here too. You made us really think about, you know, what does it mean to be a woman, a mother, a parent, a daughter, a lover? All of these things really beautifully came out.
Thank you. For me, in a way, it was the most risque I've done because it just wasn't familiar to me. And I was like, let's see.
Yes.
You know, but thank you for getting it.
Absolutely, Sarita. And I know I got to let you go, but one final thing, why should people watch this film?
I think people should watch this film because what you just said, they're going to find out something about themselves, I think, and they're going to have so much fun because they're going to be watching it like a thriller. But then after, they're going to be like, wait a minute.
Right.
And realize what it was really about.
I thought it was a rom-com, to be honest, until it's...
I know. Oh my God. Yes. We tried to do that at the beginning. Yeah. You were like, wow.
Thank you so much for your time. And I really hope people
go out. Thank you so much, Raj.
Yes. And I hope people watch this October the 13th on Amazon Prime. Thank you, Sarita. I look forward to the next time we have the opportunity to talk.
Me too. Bye. Nice talking to you.
Bye-bye now.
Amazing.
You too.